Have you ever gotten into a fight over something ridiculous, like a girl? Well, when I was in 8th grade, that exact thing happened. There was this girl, let's call her Bella, and she liked me, and I had a thing for her. But little did I know, somebody else had his eyes on her and saw me as a threat. It's funny because he actually didn't really like her all that much. He just didn't like the fact that I liked her and she liked me. And this made him jealous. And in that jealousy, he essentially tried to harass me, but that didn't win her favor over. And then this eventually broke out into a full-fledged fight between us. So who was this guy? Well, his name was Keith. He was bigger than me, he was stronger than me, and he had definitely more of an attitude than I did. I didn't like what Keith did to me at the time, but in a weird way, I'm actually glad that he did that. Because had he not done that, it would not have changed my life for the better. And it was because of this that 18-year-old Rick eventually got better, and this was the catalyst that started his journey to improve his life. And it's what's led to me being here right now. And that's why I'm here today, to teach you guys the exact pitfalls that I had when I was a young guy, as a 25-year-old man, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. So, let's get right into it. So that's why today I'm going to be teaching you how to stop holding yourself back. These are the lessons from a 25-year-old guy to young men. Now, let me start off by saying that masculinity is different for everybody. Each man has to have his own form. But there are definitely 30-year-old boys and 18-year-old men. And our job here today is to separate the boys from the men. Let's start off with number one. So, the number one thing is that it's important for men to be strong. One of the most important things in life is that we need to be strong. We need to be strong enough to handle life's challenges. We need to be strong enough to fight if necessarily. You need to be strong. And I remember a few years back, there was the clip of that guy who said, it's okay to be weak, And I'm here today to tell you that it's not okay to be weak. It's fine to start off weak. We all start off weak. You start off weak in any endeavor that you choose, but it's not okay to be a weak loser, because weak people are the ones who really end up destroying the world. People who are weak emotionally, people who are weak physically, people who are weak mentally. It's weak people who end up destroying the world, because when you're weak, you have nothing to really lose. You never had to fight and struggle and claw your way out. You don't know what that struggle is like. But when you're strong, when you've built yourself up, you realize that those are the people who are really capable of making it through challenges in life. In this life, you will come across despair, heartbreak, pain, trauma, loved ones dying, people leaving your life, relationships failing. You'll go through all kinds of hardships through your life. That's just how life is. But if you're strong, if you're capable, if you're able to stand on your own 2 feet and assert yourself as a human being, as a dominant person, then you will be strong enough to handle any challenge that life throws your way. And one of my favorite quotes from Fuegoleon in Black Clover is that there's no shame in being weak. The shame is in staying there. So make sure you don't stay there. Keep going every single day and keep trying and pushing as much as you can, even if it's a struggle. It's okay to pause and take a break, but keep going. Number 2 is that you're gonna have to be able to stand up for yourself and for your loved ones. See, I wasn't exactly a runt back in school, but I definitely grew up a bit skinnier, and I also hit puberty a lot later. I was a late bloomer. And the experience I talked about at the beginning of this video actually wasn't the first, and definitely wouldn't be the last time that I would be dealing with bullies, right? I've dealt with bullies back in school when I was a kid. I've dealt with bullies when I was a teenager, and even sometimes as an adult. They raised me to be tough, to be strong, to be capable of standing up for myself because I'm supposed to be a young man. Eventually, I want to have kids of my own. I want to have a wife. I've had girlfriends, and I'm supposed to be able to protect them, right? But let me tell you, a man who cannot defend himself or his loved ones is no man at all. You should be able to protect people. And yeah, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to win every single fight that you get into. But what it should mean is that you're capable of standing up for yourselves and the people you care about. The people you care about know that you're going to defend them, especially your girlfriend, your wife. It's very important that you're capable of standing up for yourself. And what's really ironic is that if you're strong enough, if you're capable enough of violence, if your martial arts skills are good enough, that's all it really takes. I'm not even really a big guy. I'm 165 pounds currently, and I'm 5'10". I'm not a huge guy, like by any means. And yet, my ability to defend myself and to look like I'm capable of defending myself has saved me from countless situations where I probably could have been robbed, I probably could have been beaten up, I could have been attacked, because I look like I'm capable of defending myself. It's that presence that you have to have that is the most important part, because that is what's going to save you from a lot of these situations. Not just simply thinking that you're the best, thinking that you're a badass, but from the ability, the capability, and the look that you will fight somebody if need be. I'll talk more about this in future videos, but essentially you don't have to be John Wick, you just gotta be capable. A lot of guys struggle with trying to find their purpose, but your purpose isn't just something that you find, it's something that you forge and build through trial and error. You need to go out and try as many things as possible, because a lot of people think that, you need talent to accomplish any goal that they want, but most of the time, talent only gets you so far. You do need to still put in the work, and you still need to be able to try and fail at things, because a lot of people try, and a lot of people give up after the first failure, when what they should do is they should try, fail, keep going, and if it doesn't work out, then yeah, you might have to quit and then move on to something else. The world isn't just going to hand over to you skills, mastery of a subject, or talent, or, it's not going to hand that kind of stuff over to you. You have to build it through trial and error, and you'll never know how far you can go until you put yourself in a situation that brings you there, right? Now, personally, I love anime, video games, movies. I stopped really playing video games, but it's because there needs to be more to life than just being a consumer. A lot of people in the modern day, I believe, feel depressed because they're not putting their hands to good work, to use. I've felt the best when I started learning a subject that I genuinely enjoyed, in this case, martial arts, dance, building things as a handyman, being a production worker, powerlifting. I got to try all kinds of things, and eventually a few of those things stuck with me. You need to be able to put yourself in situations where you have to fail, and then you try, you learn, you fail, and you keep going until you eventually master a subject. Now, number 4 is that you're going to want to study from others. You're going to want to gain their knowledge and experiences. I was lucky in the fact that I grew up with a dad, and I know a lot of people don't have the same opportunities, especially in the modern day. And he really got involved in my life when I was a teenager. This is actually not a common thing with a lot of people, I've noticed. And because of that, I asked him if I could learn martial arts again. And that's when he introduced me to Krishna Kim, who was my first Muay Thai coach, who taught me a lot about how to defend myself and also gave me a couple of advices on dating, confidence, how to be mentally tough, etc. Then I also have my mom, who taught me how to be social, who taught me about yard work, who actually also taught me how to fight a little bit, because she grew up in the country and you have to be tough to live out there. And I was able to gain their knowledge and experiences because, they're older. They were able to teach me about the things that they knew that happened to them, and I was able to learn from them and keep going as life went along. Then you also have friends who I might disagree with, but it's our ability to disagree but still be friends that actually helps us in the long run. What I mean by that is that, for example, my friend Matt and I didn't agree on, overcoming our fears the same way. One day he took me down to the cliffside over here in Palos Verdes, and we climbed down it in the middle of the night, and it was scary, right? And I didn't want to do it, but he was able to push me to a point where we did it. We did it, and I overcame my fear of heights like that. It was actually pretty insane. But then I also have Matt, Sebastian, Dominic, Jordan, and many other friends who, when we use our differences and bring them together, and then we can also divide up the work and teach each other about our lives and about other experiences that we've had and how to navigate them, we become so much stronger together as a team than we would have individually. And that's a very key thing that I think a lot of people are missing in the modern day as well. You need to be able to learn from other people. You need to try, you need to fail, you need to learn and gain more experiences yourself so that you can teach those to other people and see where you messed up, because they might realize where you messed up and you might see where they messed up, but it's hard to see each of those things on your own. You need to be able to work as a team with your friends. Gen Z is considered to be the loneliest generation, but we don't have to be. There are many, many people punching above their weight. Now, what do I mean by this? What I'm saying is that I've seen tons of studies, tons of videos where people are saying that Gen Z is lonelier than ever. People in Gen Z are giving up more than ever. People in Gen Z have no close friends, no relationships, no long-term relationships, not getting into, not going out, not going to clubs, not going to bars, not even going to social events. It doesn't have to be those specific things. And it really saddens me because human beings, we're pack animals. We're social by nature. We need other people. We need other people to help us in life because, I mean, think about it. When you were a baby, you were helpless. You need to be able to rely on other people to take care of you because you can't take care of yourself, right? And Gen Z, like, I've always been a naturally social person. I've always been like that for whatever reason. I love being around people, and there are times where I need to be alone. There are times where I do need to isolate, not out of loneliness, but because I personally want to just take time to spend on my own, kind of like how I am right here. I'm by myself currently while I'm filming this video, and I get to see how beautiful the world is outside. And it doesn't have to be hopeless. You may not have had your first kiss. You may not have had a girlfriend. You may not have any close friends, but you need to believe that you can and should do better. And sometimes you need to reach out to people. You need to reach out for help. You need to reach out just to talk to people to see how they've been doing, because who else is going to bring it back? I mean, if a lot of people are lonely, then it has to be you who has to be able to put in the work and just, hit somebody up on a message and say, hey, you want to hang out today? We can go and do something. You might get shot down, but you need to try, because if you never try, you'll never know how it's going to go. And it's honestly so much better when you put in the work. And it's not that much work either, because all it is just a simple text message, a simple call saying, hey man, I know we haven't hung out in a while. What's up? Go to the grocery store and talk to people. Go out to social events, go to a club, go to a bar, go and find a hobby that requires multiple people, because we need to believe that human beings are good and that we're capable of doing good things and having close friends. I, for a long time, didn't think I was basically worthy of love or a relationship because all of my friends were in relationships and I wasn't. And then one day I decided to make a change with that. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go for it. I started going to more parties. I started talking to way more people. I started talking to more girls. And eventually, that's how I met my previous girlfriend. And it didn't work out. And that's totally fine, because it's better to go out, try, and fail than it is to go out and never try at all. Number 6 is going to be, don't regret, just learn and then move forward, okay? This is something that I definitely have to work on, and it's very important to me because I've had many times in my life where I've regretted things, I've held grudges, I've, clung to the past when I shouldn't have, and it's not where you should be, okay? When you cling to the past, when you live in a world of what if, when you think, oh, it could have been this way versus how it is, you rob yourself of current opportunities that you have right now. Using myself as an example and my friend Matt, we actually were never supposed to be friends the way that we were, right? We knew each other from high school, but we didn't become friends until after high school. And it was because I went to community college rather than going to a university like I tried to get into. And he was actually supposed to go to the University of Santa Barbara, I believe. And those plans fell through. And we ended up meeting up because of a mutual friend. And then, COVID struck. I ended up getting kicked out of college technically because they just never let me back into it. And we never really got back to going to school. At least I didn't go back to school the way I wanted to originally. And he started going to Cal State Long Beach. Now, had this not happened, we would not be in the situation that we are now. Because had I focused purely on what I didn't have, I would not have seen what I do have in this current present moment. Well, not now, but what I did at the time after I left. Because Matt and I became such good friends and we wanted to take the opportunity to better ourselves, we started going on camping trips, we started going to different states, we started doing more activities together like swing dancing, going to bars and clubs once we turned of age. And then I think the biggest thing that we've done together is go to Thailand together. And none of this would have happened had we not worked with what we had and learned from our mistakes rather than focusing on what we don't have. We ended up making this the best possible opportunity in the fact that things didn't go our way. It's really weird to explain, but if you regret what you did or didn't do, then you're never going to be able to move forward. You're going to be stuck in a world of, well, what if I dated that girl when I had the chance? What if I took the job opportunity when I had the chance? What if I went to the college that I was supposed to get into? What if, instead of what is? You need to focus on the present, look towards the future. And it is important to remember things from the past because you need to keep that knowledge inside of you so you don't make the same mistakes again, right? But it is also important to just look at the past to learn and not regret. All right, that was a fun time, but now we're back at home. Now, let's move on to number 7. Number 7 is going to be kind of a strange one, but I think it needs to be said. And it is that you are going to have enemies in this world. So, what do I mean by this? Well, every tale has a hero and a villain. And the villain might not always be obvious. Sometimes the enemy can come in many different forms. Sometimes it's the government, sometimes it's a predator, but sometimes it can even be your own mind. Your brain is one of the most powerful things you have in this life. It creates your entire perception of the world. And unfortunately, your mind might not always be on your side. It might not have what you think is your best interest at heart. Now, what do I mean by this? And it's that enemies can come in all forms, and external enemies are easy to see, usually because they're trying to attack you directly. But internal enemies usually grow and fester over time, and they eat away at you until there's might not be anything left of either your goals or even your own sanity. So some people might try to get into your own mind, and they plant those seeds of doubt into you. They plant doubt, guilt, shame, and blame. And if you don't take care of it, if you don't guard your mind from those thoughts, you will end up falling apart entirely. And it's really sad because a lot of dreams die because other people don't believe in those people, rather than people not believing in themselves at first. Now, the reason I say a seed, they plant seeds into your mind, is because your mind is basically like a garden, and it is a type of garden that you have to protect with your life. It sounds weird, but think about it like this. Gardens are maintained. They have to be taken care of. You have to make sure that certain plants are in certain areas and others are in others so that they don't overgrow. It has to look nice. It has to be well kept. And those seeds of doubt, when you don't weed them out, end up destroying your life bit by bit by bit, right? So the reason I say it's a garden is because if you think learning all this stuff is a one and done deal, then you're in for a very rude awakening. And you have to maintain these things. You don't just work out once and then you're fit forever. You don't just cut your hair once and then it stays cut forever. You don't just wash, bathe, or take care of yourself once in certain ways and then it's just a one and done thing. These are things you have to maintain throughout your entire life. And as you grow and as you do the good habits or bad ones, if you're not careful, they will just become part of your daily life, to a point where you might not even be able to get through your day without them. I've gotten to the point where I can work out, and I love working out. I can't not work out in some fashion, in some way, shape, or form, but it is possible. So that's number 7, is that you have to be aware of your enemies and you have to be able to deal with them, internal or external. Last but not least is going to be number 8, and it's that you might have to cut off certain people who are not helping you become the best version of yourself. So I'm naturally a social person. As I stated before, I like getting to know people. I like going out with people. I like going to parties, to clubs, to social events, and doing all kinds of things that involve people. And on this journey of becoming the best version of yourself, you'll probably start to meet new people as you do more things and as you go out and experience more of life. When doing this, you need to make sure that you have the best group of people around you, because I've had many friends who have brought me up with their positive mentality and many friends who have brought me down with their negative mentality. Now, I had this one friend, let's call him Patrick, right? Patrick was a super funny guy. He was super cool, very fun to be around, and it was always a good time. And he was super fun to be around. And when it came to the gym, he was very, very, very disciplined, to the point that he was actually out being way more disciplined than me. He was the one who originally tried to get me to bench 2 plates. Now, the problem with Patrick is that he had a lot of deep-seated mental issues that he never worked out from when he was a kid that have bled over into his adult life. We became friends, became really good friends after high school during COVID, because he was working out with us. And then once our workout group had ended and we started going to normal gyms again, he was there all the time with me. He was doing, really well. He was staying very positive, but he was always so negative with the girls that he wanted to date, with making new friends, with getting a better job. And it's understandable to feel that way about those things, but I kept trying to tell him, you need to believe that things can get better and then start putting in the actions and the work to make it better. And his excuse was always, well, I don't want to do that, because it's too much work. And I'm like, then why are you complaining? You have literally nothing to complain about. If you are going to put yourself in this situation, you can't be complaining about the results that you're getting. Okay? It's not how life works. And I was able to bring him up. I eventually got him to start dating and going out and meeting girls and all that. But unfortunately, the woman that he decided to date was an older woman who had kids, which, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. I wouldn't recommend it personally. But the real problem was that this was actually his coworker from his job at Amazon. And on top of that, this was a woman who had 2 kids and lived with somebody who was her boyfriend, who she was cheating on with my friend. And I could not get behind that. I was like, dude, what are you doing? And every single time I said, there's plenty of single women out here that you can get with. Why are you going for this specific chick? And he's like, well, I don't care because, her boyfriend sucks and they haven't gotten together in like 3 years. They haven't slept together in 3 years. And I'm sitting here like, that doesn't justify this type of behavior. And eventually I had to let him go, because I brought him up a little bit, but he was starting to bring me down, because I started doubting myself. I started doubting the good in humanity. I started doubting my abilities to succeed in these things. and I started behaving in ways that were just bringing me down as an individual. And it sucks because you can be friends with people who don't exactly have the same goals as you. I'm friends with plenty of people who don't want to be entrepreneurs, YouTubers, etc. But you need to be able to you need to be able to cut people out of your life if they are not bringing you up, if they're dragging you down, if they insult you, pick on you, if they even physically harm you or try to talk shit behind your back. That's it. You shouldn't have them in your life. Then it sucks to say, but you should have the mentality that I can always make more friends. I can always have better friends. We can be friends for years, right? So that's it for today's video. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Leave a comment down in the comment section and let us know. We're trying out a new channel and I can't wait to see how this goes. So, peace.